Our next speaker is Dr. Harshul Dutt, who will be talking on nucleus management in phacoemulsification. Dr. Harshul is a young, dynamic, versatile cataract surgeon, chairman scientific committee of Rajasthan Ophthalmic Society, and member ARC Central, who has a flair to bring a difference with his abundance of energy and resourcefulness. On to you, Harshul.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a kind introduction. So I'll be talking about the nucleotomy techniques and the ideal strategy or the nucleotomy technique. Just a minute. So the ideal technique, it depends on the type of the nucleus which is there. So, but you remember that the technique, any nucleotomy technique which we use, it should be effective and it should be reproducible in your hands, and it should be safe for endothelium and other ocular structures. And every surgeon over the years developed their own little variation in the technique in which they use. But the prerequisite for a good nucleotomy is a good capsulorhexis, which is of adequate size, should not be too small, and you should do good hydrodissection before you start disassembling the nucleus. So this is the case, which is a soft cataract and has a little PSC there. So I do a hydrodissection, and once I achieve a good hydrodissection and I'm able to rotate the nucleus, as you can see here. So in softer cataract, it's difficult to directly chop the nucleus. So, and as a postgraduate and who is starting their phaco career, I think they should better start with this stop and chop or divide and conquer technique. So here it's on the coaxial illumination mode, and here I'm just sculpting a groove here, rotating the nucleus. Remember that it should be deeper in the center and it should be narrower in the periphery because of the nucleus is thicker in the center. So once you achieve this groove here, you put both the instruments down below at the deeper plane and divide the nucleus in two halves. So this is cracked on this side, and I rotate 180 degree and again divide it into two halves. So once you achieve these two halves clearly, then either, as this is a softer cataract, I again make a groove here, as you can see. So your phaco setting has to be very low phaco power, and now you just need to vacuum these pieces out like the piece of cake. And remember that we should be always be in the center of the eye and never try to go in the periphery. So that is how you complete this softer cataract. So there may be a situation that the cataract is so soft that you're not able to even trench in the nucleus, and as you typically see in pediatric cataract or the cataract like this. So again, I make a capsulorhexis, do a good hydrodissection, see this wave traverse all across the equator. And then it's important that you go ahead and do the hydrodelineation so that you separate this endonuclear core also. Here again, the settings are that I use very minimal phaco power of just 2 to 3% phaco power. Basically, you just need the vacuum here to take care of this very soft nucleus. So there are various techniques like chip and flip or the salute technique or different kind of techniques which I use. So essentially, remember that you just may increase the vacuum and you just take out this softer nucleus which is there. So it completes the case. Now, once you master the stop and chop and divide and conquer technique, now you come to the phaco chop technique. So this is a white cataract I've taken here. So once you have a good capsulorhexis, now for this is the vertical chop, you go ahead and engage the phaco probe in the center of the nucleus. And now see the chopper goes vertically down in front of the phaco tip, and you just literally separate phaco tip and the chopper. So it is basically your left hand which is working more. Your phaco probe is just, stabilizing the nucleus and making a good hold on the nucleus so that you can effectively chop the nucleus into pieces. So either you can do the multiple chops first and take out the pieces one by one, or you can take out one or two pieces and complete nucleotomy. In these cases, always remember that you bring these pieces in the pupillary plane, as there is no cortical cushion to support the posterior capsule. And you should not have any surge also in your machine, because that is can be very devastating, and it can cause the posterior capsule rupture if the PC comes in your phaco probe. So this is the last piece which comes off. So that was the direct vertical phaco chop. Now come to a case where we have a brown and black cataract like this. So this is in these type of harder cataract, which have a very thick endonuclear core and very thick posterior plate, fibrous plate. I use the technique which I described in 2010 in European Congress in Paris. That is what I call drill and chop technique. So it is very advantageous in cases which are brown and black. See, what I'm doing here is I'm drilling in the center of the nucleus deeper. So I'm very well away from the capsular axis margin. So once I drill like this in the center, the advantage which I get is that I weaken the central endonuclear core. I'm rotating the nucleus with my chopper and drilling in the center deeper down. So once I've drilled enough, now I go and I can place my phaco tip deeper in this drill which I made, and I'm very well away from the capsular axis margin. So this is the normal chopper which I'm using. So I go ahead and use this chopper to split nucleus. Now you see this whole crack, it goes from anterior to posterior side. So I rotate the nucleus 180 degree. You see, I can see the split there. Rotate 180 degree, hold it from one side, and complete this crack. So now what we want is these nucleus to be divided in these two pieces. So once you have divided the nucleus like this, you go ahead and make further smaller pieces. So your chopper in your left hand is the key instrument which cracks and split the nucleus. And you can see the splitting action, and you can take these pieces one by one. So that's the way you should deal with the brown and black cataracts. So this is again the modification of the vertical chop, what I call a drill and chop technique. Let's see one more case which has brown and brown cataract. But the difference here is, of course, it's a brown cataract, but there's a lot of cortical matter which is there. And once this cortical matter comes off, there's a lot of space which is created between this nucleus and the capsular bag. See, it's very much mobile in the capsular bag. So for these type of cataract, what I do is I just try to give the horizontal chop. See, I've drilled in the center. I stabilize the nucleus. See, it's very much mobile in the capsular bag. I lift it up and get the chopper from the equator. This is what is the horizontal chop. Ideally, you should use a finger-shaped instrument which is very blunt, but this chopper will also do. So you can use this technique. So you need to master various techniques so that you can use the combination of these techniques to tackle different type of nucleus. See again, so this finishes this case. This is the Morganian cataract again. So once I achieve capsular axis, see this is a very mobile nucleus. So the trick here is to go with the bevel down. So once I go with bevel down, I stabilize the nucleus, and again getting my chopper from the equator here, and that splits the nucleus. So you just go with bevel down, lift slightly nucleus up, stabilize it, and use your chopper to split it. So last case, another Morganian cataract. See, again, I go with the bevel down. See, it's very difficult to stabilize these nucleus because there is no cushion there. So you need to be very meticulous in chopping them. So I think we all need to learn all these different kind of nucleotomy techniques, which can come, which we can use in various combinations in different kind of cases. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harshul, for showing different types of nucleus management and with your own inputs about it. There are 2-3 questions which are here.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Mahipal connected? Dr. Mahipal is not there?
No, he's
Not connected. Okay, Namrata,
Yeah.
could you just briefly tell us about the power modulations which you would advise for some of these types of different types of cataract? And just a gross impression as to, for the postgraduates to understand how you could play around with the ultrasound and the vacuum and aspiration.
I think Harshul, very excellent talk, and I've heard this
Thank you,
before in
ma'am.
a previous session. It just demonstrates everything very nicely. And regarding the power modulation, I think you have to go by the grade of the cataract. So if the grade of the cataract is soft, then obviously all your parameters will be on the lower side, because you would have, already, you don't want cheese wiring happening in a soft cataract. Vis-a-vis a hard cataract. If it's a hard cataract, then you would probably make a crater if you're a surgeon who's beginning. So, well, when making a crater at that point in time, you don't want you don't want too much of you would first make a crater, and then you would chop. And again, for a very hard cataract, you can resort to, if you have a machine like Centurion, then probably apart from Ozil or apart from Ozil, you would also want some amount of phaco there, because the hard cataract will not break. So for cataracts which are soft, all your parameters would be on the lower side, whether it is the flow rate or it is the vacuum, because you don't want everything coming in too fast. But if it is a hard cataract, then your flow rate would be on the higher side, because you want everything to come up to the phaco probe, and your vacuum also has to be higher, because you have to purchase onto the edge of the crater or for chopping. So at that point in time, your vacuum would go higher, but as you make the crater, your vacuum will not be high. It is going to be on the lower side, especially if you're doing in divide and conquer technique. Then you have to make the crater, so you cannot have the vacuum too high. You have to keep modulating, and like for instance, if you come to the epinucleus, then again some machines would have a epinucleus mode, but if they don't have, again all your parameters would go down, the flow rate, the vacuum. And when you come to the last piece again, because that last piece is wobbling around in the whole of the capsular bag, so again your parameters have to be on the lower side. You can control it with the foot pedal itself to again make your vacuum a little lower. The flow rate has to be lower, because you don't want everything sucking in. So in the various stages of the cataract, and depending on the hardness of the cataract, the modulation of the echo, the flow rate, the vacuum, all will have to occur. And in some of the machines, intraocular pressure also plays an important role, like in Centurion. So you may increase the IOP, make it higher so that there is no surge there. Some of them it will not be there. And likewise, decrease the IOP in some of the cases, like special situations, for instance, to have a post-VR surgery.
Thank you very much for a very detailed explanation, Dr. Namrata. Dr. Sri Ganesh, just a word.
I think, in very soft cataracts, very hard cataracts, most of the postgraduates and residents, the problem is they don't sculpt deep enough. So very soft cataracts, very hard cataracts, you have to have a deep trench. Otherwise, you cannot crack it, because soft cataracts, you will cheese wire. And you will not be able to crack it unless you shave the posterior plate and it's very thin, then you can crack it. Otherwise, it cheese wires. In very hard cataracts, you have very leathery fibers. So unless you sculpt deep, you will not be able to split the epinuclear plate. So in very hard, very soft cataracts, you have to sculpt deep enough. And usually you're not able to crack because you're not sculpted deep enough. That is one aspect which I wanted to address. The other thing is that sometimes the most difficult cataract are those cataracts which are, I think Ronyo calls it neither here nor there cataracts, because you can't really split it because it cheese wires. You cannot crack it. And it's not soft enough to be removed with a high flow rate and vacuum. And these are cataracts where I do what is called a mechanical chop. And there are other techniques described. You can also do a cartwheel or a carousel technique. The other very nice video with Ron showed recently was what is called cross chop, where you're taking your chopper through the side port across the phaco probe, using the phaco probe as a support in the groove, and then chopping it at 90 degrees. So this also works well. And these are various techniques. What is very important is to learn about the phaco dynamics and how you can use a machine, and in which cases you should use a higher flow rate. For the very soft cataracts, I like to use a high flow rate so that the whole thing comes out into the antechamber, and then you can remove it, because most of them are beginners are afraid of using higher flow rates because they think it's not safe. But in good machines where you have surge protection, using a higher flow rate for soft cataracts makes it faster and easier to evacuate the nucleus. So these are just a few points. And power modulation, of course, it varies from machine to machine. You have a lot of new software, like you have the Ozil in the Centurion, you have different types of tips in the Signature, you have the White Star, and you have variable White Star, which you can use for hard cataracts, cold phaco to reduce the incidence of wound burn and total phaco energy to be used. So you have to know your machine very well, and then you can decide on your technique.
Excellent presentation, Harshul, and I think almost everything that needs to be said has been said. Just a couple of brief points I want to make is one is your drill and chop technique. I think the basic premise in that is that you have to have a deep groove in this hard cataract so that you get a purchase onto the meat of the nucleus.
Yes.
So there are various techniques. You could just make a groove there, but that's the basic principle in the sense that unless you are able to bury your phaco tip into the meat of the nucleus, you're not able to chop it adequately. And basically, the phaco tip remains constant. It's only the chopper which is moving. And this is one way of doing it. The second point I wanted to make was when you have a Morganglian cataract and like what he showed in his last video, a nucleus spinning around or the last fragment, and sometimes in these hypermature cataracts, the capsule is also very fragile and there's a constant tendency for it to trample in. In these cases, it's also even a good idea to put in an intraocular lens inside.
Yeah.
But that itself acts as a tamponade protecting the posterior capsule, and then go ahead and phaco it. I mean, it might appear for the early beginners, it might appear as if the space will be significantly constrained, but it offers a significant protection and are able to do it in a more controlled manner.